gleaming lights, I want the world and what's in it. Gotta grind for everything. I told them it's time to change how we living. I got my eyes on the game till I'm winning. Don't be surprised when you see it in a minute. Gotta push it to the limit. You know that me and my niggas out to get it.
Alright, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kenny back again with another Eyes for You movie review. And today we'll be discussing the highly anticipated Antebellum. Now, going into this, I was really anticipating this movie. This is one that was on my list for 2020. And if we all can agree, 2020 has been a shit show. So I was really looking forward to this movie, you know, to be on the better side of things. So before we get into this, I'm gonna tell y'all the meaning. The meaning of Antebellum is the pre-war, or the time before a war. More specifically, this is pertaining to the Civil War. And the movie opens up with a quote from William Faulkner that says, "The past is never dead. It's not even the past." Take from that what you will, but what I took from it was, if we don't learn from our mistakes, or what it say, change the tide of things we're doing to repeat it, and we'll backslide or whatever. And with the whole social climate of what's going on right now, I'm pretty sure there's some on the opposing side that would love for nothing more for that to happen. And I'll get more into the meaning, what I think the movie is saying behind afterwards when we do the spoilers. So the movie stars Janelle Monáe, Gabby Sidibe, and Kiersey Clemens. I think that's her name. She was in Dope, and I didn't even recognize her in this movie. But the main protagonist in this movie is Janelle Monáe's character, Edith Veronica. We're introduced to Edith. She's a slave, and you can see all the Confederate soldiers and everything, like they're getting ready for the Civil War, and it's like, you know, regular plantation shit. We ain't really gotta go into that because we sick of slave movies for the most part. What I can say about the movie, right, I'm gonna give y'all this. The concept was dope. I feel like the execution was poor. It was handled poor. It's directed by Bush and Renz, which are two writers who were on Get Out, and they were on the movie Us. So I kind of got a feel for you know, what I was expecting in this movie. What I'm disappointed about with this movie is I've seen the concept executed better, not even better, but I've seen the twist at the end before in a whole nother movie, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. So I feel like you can be inspired by somebody, but to completely rip off or bite the whole plot or whatever is kind of whack to me. But other than the concept was pretty dope, but it was just the execution that I felt was kind of weak, was super weak. The good things I do like about it, I liked Janelle Monáe's performance in it is great. I could tell she was trying to work with whatever she was given in the movie. So without giving too much away, I want to stay on track with this one. She's a slave, and she's going through the motions of trying to figure out a way to escape. And when you see this movie, me, for myself, I noticed a few intricacies in this movie that I was like, that's different. But I'll talk about that more in the spoiler, so I'm gonna get through this part. You can tell something's off with this whole plantation. You can just tell like something's off. It's not the normal thing when you see the slaves and how they react and everything. Janelle Monáe, Veronica, or Edith, Edith is trying to plan to escape from this plantation, and you see her formulate the plot and everything, trying to escape this nightmarish ass concept and get away from this plantation. The first act, it's a little slow. The first act is kind of slow. It's like this movie clocks in at 1 hour and 45 minutes. So I like how they kind of painted the eeriness with the music and the score of the first act. When you get into the second act, it's kind of slow. It's like kind of nothing really going on, but the regular, you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, pick it up, something. So the third act, I can't tell you how, but they they jump to present day. We're introduced to Veronica. She's a world-renowned author, an activist, you know, all about black empowerment and everything. And she's on the panel, you know, she's doing the thing. She's like one of the activists you would see kind of handing it to the CNN panelists. Like you would see people on CNN kind of, you know, like Fox News or being assholes or whatever, being racist. But she would give it, you know, she would give it to them only way a black strong sister can. So that gives you the kind of the insight of her, of who she is. She's strong. She has a family, a beautiful daughter, her husband, and you know she's all about, you know, she's successful basically. She's successful. She's black, and as we know in America, that can be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what side you on, but I like how they showed that part in the modern day. We go to she's catching a flight to go speak at another seminar. That's where we link up with Gabby Sidibe. Her character, I can see how she could be obnoxious to some people or over sexualized and kind of come off as annoying, like, you know, really annoying. But the one thing I could point out that she did in this movie, when they got to a restaurant, and I've had this happen to me and my wife, where it was like they give you a table and they sit you here, be like, no, can we get that table? Can we get a better table? You're not gonna sit me right here next to the restroom, you know what I'm saying, next to the bathroom. So I like how she stood up and said something about that and put the lady in her place. I like that part of her performance. But the rest, I can see where it could come off as either entertaining to you or like really obnoxious. It's kind of hard to talk about it without giving everything away. It's three women, Janelle Monáe, Gabby Sidibe, and another woman. They're all friends, and they're having dinner after the seminar or whatever. After that, they go their own ways because Janelle Monáe has a flight to catch early in the morning at 6 to meet up with her daughter. After that, I'm not gonna tell you what happens, but we're gonna jump back to, unfortunately, the slave times or the Civil War time. And okay, we're gonna get into, all right, we're back in the slave time, and there's this smoke shack. There's like this big shack where they put people in when they die, or they, you know, they put all the dead bodies on, and they set on fire. And that's gonna be like a key point in the movie. You'll see why later. Okay, I'm gonna get into what I liked about the movie. What I like about the movie is, like I say, the plot, the concept is dope. Like the concept, what they're trying to do and the way they paint that common nightmare for today is dope. I really like that, but it was just the execution that was weak. What I felt was weak about it is that they basically ripped off this M. Night Shyamalan movie. I'm not gonna tell y'all the movie because that will kind of give away what's going on with the whole plot. But I've seen it done better or worse, because I didn't like it in that movie either, but I've seen it before. And it's really in your face, trying to be like Get Out. I mean, I guess you would expect that from the writers, from Get Out and Us, but there's a lot of like little Easter eggs in this movie where it's like, did you see this? Did you see that? Like there's a stewardess at the, not a steward, yeah, I guess you call it a stewardess at the hotel, and there's like this big picture of a plantation in the background. It's like, ooh, like you can't, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, do y'all see this? Like, yeah, this is the plantation. Is like, it's blatant, like hitting you in your face, like it's too on the nose with that. I want to tell people, go into this with an open mind, because you're either gonna like it, or you're either gonna, I say like it, I don't know nobody that loves it, but you're either gonna like it or you're gonna be like, that was whack. For me, it was cool. It could have just been executed better. It could have been directed a whole lot better. But now, I probably did not do a good job of explaining as much as I could with this movie, because I can't talk about it without getting into spoilers. So right now, I'm gonna give y'all a moment. Y'all can step away, or y'all can stick around. I'm gonna spoil it for y'all right now, so I'm gonna give y'all about 20 seconds to kind of dip, do what you gotta do, you know, but we about to get into spoilers, all right? So give y'all a little moment. If y'all here now, y'all either seen the movie or y'all want it spoiled and don't give a damn. Okay, Now I can talk freely, and I'm hoping this part picks up the whole lot of the review, picks up more on the review. Okay. Janelle Monáe's character, Edith. Her name's Veronica. When she's a slave, she's Edith. When she's common day, or when she's the strong, successful black woman, that's Veronica. She's basically kidnapped. She's kidnapped and forced to stay on this this Civil War reenactment site or reserve, like this. You know how like people dress up and go in the woods, way deep in the woods, and reenact certain things in time. And she's basically kidnapped. She has been kidnapped and taken to this Civil War reenactment reserve site, which is actually named Antebellum, and it takes place in Louisiana. It's fucked up because it's like a nightmarish concept, which I could honestly, in the right hands, not in the right hands, but with all these extremists, I could see someone trying to do that, kidnap strong, black, powerful people. They can try if they want to, got something for them. But I could see them trying that and taking them to this reenactment site and like kidnapping or holding black people as slaves against their will. Plot of this thing. It's not supernatural. It's no sci-fi element to this movie. It's just straight. She's been kidnapped, taken to this reserve against her will, and it's kind of like taking. If you woke up today in 2020, went to sleep and woke up, and somebody is now you're picking cotton, making slaves, like you're a slave, and you got you picking cotton. That is like a nightmare today. And what I would say about the social views of what's going on, why I feel like what the movie may be trying to say. I'm not gonna say this is what the movie is saying, but this is what I took from it. Whereas like I say, the past is never dead. It's not even the past. And it's kind of like, even with today, you kind of see what's going on with the police brutality and the whole social climate. It's like you have some really ignorant people that are trying to force things to go back to the way it was, and I feel like if we don't change the tide or do something about that, we're gonna either repeat that, or it's gonna be a whole nother civil war. That's why I say, well, you got Black Lives Matter activists, and you have the white supremacists and the extremists on one end, and you can feel the tension in the air of everywhere, with every police killing, with everything that's going on in the world right now. You can feel the tension, and like something is bubbling over. And it's if we don't do something about it or take control, it's gonna come to a head, and it's gonna be a whole nother civil war. The way that goes into this movie is, I feel, when Janelle Monáe, she fight back, she rebels, because she's being raped. It's not extreme, but you do see the guy having his way with her, and then he just kind of rolls over. So it's bad enough, and she's being taken away from her family and everything, and it kind of gives you in the mindset of what it was with that our ancestors went to. So she rebels. It's kind of like on some Nat Turner shit. I wish they could have went more into it, but I'm gonna tell y'all the things that I noticed right away that I was like, if something's not right. Okay, first off, when you see the slaves, one of them has like a gold chain with a cross on it. Back in the Civil War, nobody was wearing chains and medallions. And they also, one of the girls, the girl had a chain on, and she had a bull ring. The bull rings that's really trendy now that a lot of women are wearing. I was like, yo, there's no way this is back in the 19th century or whenever it, what did they say, 1940? I can't remember the history, but there's no way they were wearing all this back then, and in the Civil War time. So that was one of the things I noticed too. Like, okay, let me see where this is going. And then another thing was, one of the slaves, it was a man, and what I'm saying, the overseer would say stuff to him, and he would just be like, oh, cracker ass, like F you, cracker. And he would just kind of like real rebellious, more than you more than what we have seen in previous slave movies, where it's like they're real timid and submissive and scared. He was more like, man, like, fuck this, like he said, who gave you permission to speak? He mumbles on his breath, I gave myself permission to speak. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, I was like, something's not quite right here. Like, I'm no, those were the things. And later on in the movie, we see where somebody, the main head of the Confederacy, pulls out a cell phone. That right there, I'm like, yo, what's going on? And that's when I kind of clicked on me, like, yo, this is a whole reenactment site. So Janelle Monáe, she steals the phone and she escapes out of the bed, and she gets the phone out of the saddle because he put the phone back in the saddle. Once she takes the phone out, she's trying to call 911, but the call drops, and now they need the the Face ID to open the phone back. So now she has to go back into the cabin that she just escaped from to get the phone unlocked. Once she does that, the guys in there waiting for her, they're fighting her and the slave that I was talking about before that was real rebellious. They're fighting the guy. They're fighting the overseer or whatever. And the slave gets killed, trying to protect Janelle Monáe or whatever, and she escapes, but she ends up getting the better of him and unlocks the phone with his face. You know what I'm saying? It's even a nice scene where it's like, she's like, open your eyes, motherfucker, and she holds the phone to him and it unlocks, and she's able to call her family. And actually, on iPhones you can drop your pin, drop your location, and through that it's going on into the dawn. She's trying to escape. As she already beat the main, the one guy, the overseer, she drags his body in that smoke shack I was telling y'all about, and she accidentally gets caught by another one of the soldiers, and he's like, "What are you doing out here?" She grabs she says, "The colonel, he's hurt. Come see." So she tricks the other soldiers to going in there to seeing what's going on with the overseer that she already killed. And once they walk inside, she locks the door and sets that shit on fire. And I was kind of rooting that. At that point, I'm kind of at the TV, like jumping, like, yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Let's go. So she escapes from there. She jumps back on the horse and she's gone. But you still have this woman, the wife of the overseer, that's trying to kill her, chase her on horseback. So they have a showdown or whatever, and it's kind of corny or weak, but it's kind of like Lifetime made for TV type of way, because it's like you don't feel emotionally connected to these characters. To Janelle Monáe, yes, but to this other lady, it's kind of like, I don't believe her. She just didn't seem believable. She was like, you ain't nothing but a cotton picker, and it's like, come on. I mean, I don't really care for the use of the N-word, but if there was any other time to use it or to make it realistic to like what's going on, that would be a time to use it. I'm not saying I condone it, but it would make it more believable. But it was really whack. So she's chasing Janelle Monáe on the horse, and she ends up getting off the horse. She tracks the lady. She actually gets the better of the lady, and Janelle Monáe beats the brakes off this white lady. Like, she beats the brakes off of her, and she's kind of like, what kind of woman are you? Because she's letting women get raped and this and that and all that. But she puts this rope around the lady's neck. She hops back on the horse, and if y'all know about kind of how the stories you heard about how they did, kind of like how they did Emmett Till and so many other horror stories, she jumps on that horse and she drags that lady like through the woods while she's trying to get out. She's trying to get out from wherever that camp is, and while she's dragging the lady bangs her head on this statue, like this brick cement statue, and basically breaks her neck and presumably dies. And once Janelle kind of looks at the statue, it's a statue of Robert E. Lee, which is a fucking loser. Like, I don't see how they got schools and roads and bridges and everything else named after him. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother topic. But it's kind of giving you the symbolism of, he was the head of the Confederacy. Fucking losers, they lost. So I don't know why people still out here with these Confederate flags. Like, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But the statue is of Robert E. Lee, and that's the statue that the lady hit, that she was dragging and killed her. So she breaks free. She's swinging this axe. Janelle Monáe rides through this to the front of the, what is it called, of the reenactment site, and you start seeing tourists, you know, holding up their smartphones, getting her like riding on the horse, and they think it's part of the show and everything, and you kind of notice it. And then she breaks free, and then you see clips of the FBI come in and they're interviewing the slaves that were held captive and getting inside the stores. Okay, that's basically it. That's the twist of the movie. But what I was saying is, I've seen that done. Basically, that's The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. Because if y'all know the movie, y'all look it up. That's basically the same kind of plot. Like, you know, the twist or whatever. It was really a village, or really a campsite or a reenactment site. I get the concept. It is nightmarish. Like I said, I can see that kind of happening, or the concept or the idea of that happening today is horrifying. But it just wasn't executed well. It wasn't executed well at all. The things I take away from this that are really good is Janelle Monáe's performance. She kills it. She knocks it out the park. Like, respect to her. And I think the writing could have been better. The writing and the directing could have been better, because it's like so blatant. Like, they trying to be like another Get Out. It's so blatant. It's like you got a brown horse over here and you got a white horse over here, and it's like, ooh, do you see that? It's like it's so in your face, and it's like, come on, man, y'all trying too hard. Just give us a good story, a good movie. They could have cut out a big chunk of the second act. That second act where nothing was going on. It was just boring. It was slow. It was super slow. They could have cut out. They could have cut out 45 minutes of this movie and compacted it to make shit happen. I want to see it be more of a rebellion or uprising of the slaves to fight back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on some Nat Turner shit. That's what I wanted. I didn't get that. It was just like it was an alright ending, you know. I can't tell people to spend money on this movie. I can't tell people to run out and see it, but I would say if you do see it, you could see it as a matinee. See it as a matinee. Take your time. But I think it's really good for discussion. I think it's a good conversation piece. The directors, what was it, Chris? I forgot their names. But anyway, the directors, and this was their first time. This was their first movie directing. They were just writers on Get Out and on Us. So I hope they step it up next time and, you know, do better with the execution. Other than that, those are my thoughts on this movie. I hope I got the point across to y'all of what I thought it was. But what I took away from the movie is basically, like I was saying, it's like an uprising. It's like the calm before the storm, or right before the war. And it's kind of like the tension in the air. You can see it. It's the social, the tension, everything, man. It's just like, you can feel it. You can, as a black man in America, you just feel it. You feel the tension. So I got that from this movie. Like, I get what they was trying to say. Like, maybe they right the wrongs, or really, I don't know what the hell they was really trying to say with the movie, but it's like, change the tide, or you basically like you're doing a repeat history if you don't learn from it, or correct the wrongdoing that was done back then to make things right now. So that's my review for Antebellum. Definitely keep this conversation going. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on it. But if I had to grade this movie or give it a score, if I had to grade it, I give it a D+. So maybe a C-, D+, or anywhere between like a 6 out of 10, or, you know, yeah, 6 out of 10. Because, like I said, I like the concept, but the execution of that concept could have been a whole lot better. So those are my thoughts. Be sure to follow me on all social media at KennyKenny757. And I give this, it was alright. It was cool. No, it was cool. It was cool. The movie was cool. It was alright. I would just check it out on the matinee. I wouldn't spend my $20 again like I did on Fandango now. But that's neither here nor there. I was really anticipating this movie. So with that being said, I'm out.